Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks very much for joining us here today at Frederick's Restaurant in Islington. One of my favourite restaurants, and with all my favourite staff, best people in any restaurant area here. Anyway, thanks for coming along today. I want you to just look at this short video, and then we'll continue with the press conference.
If you love boxing, you're gonna love this.
You want some?
He's looking for it, and that's a good shot from Maloney. He's putting his foot on the gas now. Amir, he's on! Spine-tingling reaction. Captain, that is a superb left hook. Well, that was special. Amazing stuff. Look at these shots. Bang! He's landing some punches now. Moore's coming in and stabbing him in the referee ball. Cool. Argentina! 19! That's the right hand. That's the big shot. What a battle! This is a terrific round of boxing here. Brilliant display of power punching from Billy Joe Saunders. Look at the hand speed of Alvarez. This guy is some kind of fighter. You watch him indeed. What a show Floyd Mayweather put on. Oh, he caught that one right hand. Oh, good shot. Left hand again. Absolute battle of the Yokozos. Great effort from the British challenger. Oh, good shot. Oh, massive right hand. That was an absolute feat. Oh, lovely switch from body to head. And this is what they get for. Oh, great shot. Devastating punching power for Price. Oh, he's got this time. Left hand. This is boxing at its absolute very best.
I'm gonna tell the fans this. You must watch TV.
Well, it's quite exciting. It's been nearly 2 years since we launched the channel, which was back in September 2011. Everybody said that this wasn't going to last too long, and here we are, a couple of months short of our second birthday. And we've done a lot of things over the last few years. We've given the subscribers great value for money, some fantastic shows from Britain, also from the rest of the world, and basically putting all from my point of view, putting all my selfishness aside as being a promoter, and obviously striving to do the best I can for my promotions. You know, I've been working very hard with a team, BOXNATION, Richard and Jim, and all the guys, and we started working with a few other promoters, and that's one of the reasons we're here today to talk about Maloney, Hatton and McGUIGAN's involvement as promoters in BOXNATION. They all have now deals with BOXNATION. We are rivals, but we're going to be rivals that are going to put together the fights that the fans want to see. You know, this is what BOXNATION is all about, delivering the best to the fans. You know, hopefully Derek Chisora will win his fight next month, and hopefully Pricey will come through in the week after, and there's a great fight for September there. Price versus against Chisora. Martin Murray and Billy Joe Saunders, another great fight we'll be able to make between us. There are many of those fights to be made, and what we're doing is putting something back into the sport. The fact that we're all working together means that British boxers will get more work, means that's good for British boxing. That's what we're about, British boxing. Giving people chances. If it wasn't for Box Nation, that just would not be happening at the moment, and that's a fact of life, and this ensures that it happens, and happens for all of us. I'm sure we're all going to be, as I say, we're rivals in signing any new talent that comes up, but if that talent comes about and is developed, it will come through Box Nation, and as I say, that's what we're about at the moment. We've got a tremendous lineup of shows coming up in the next couple of months from all from around the world. We've got our big show that takes place next month at Wembley, which is the Chisora and Malik Scott fight, which is a cracking fight. Carl Frank to be on the show, Gary O'Sullivan against Billy Joe Saunders, Paul Butler. We've got Denton Vassell against Frankie Gavin next week, which is a cracking fight, or this week I should say, cracking fight on Friday. Then we have the following week Price and a return match with Thompson, which is a fight that I think I'm certainly interested in watching, because I think it's a dangerous fight for David Price, and I'm not too confident about that one, but that's what makes boxing so exciting and makes the fans tune in. We're going into the Copper Box Arena in September. That'll be our first of 6 shows per annum there. We will be again working together with all the guys here to try and deliver the best fights. And then we've got the biggie, Floyd Mayweather and Sal Alvarez. That's on Box Nation. The 2 biggest fighters in the world is on Box Nation. That's what we're about, bringing the fights that the fans want to see. So I'm as well as a promoter and a manager, I'm a huge fan, and I don't think it gets any better than that. And we've got some good things that all of us are working on between us to hopefully deliver this, which again will be great for the subscribers. We're going to talk later about my friend here, Bill Ives, who is the chairman of Reign of Steel. We'll go into that as the conference goes on. I'm quite delighted to welcome him in here. And I just want to send apologies for Calm Promotions. Unfortunately, as if couldn't make it here today, so we're not going on without him. So apologies for that. Anyway, we've got our chairman, Richard Brooks, who's been working very hard on behalf of the channel, and he's been a great chairman to work under. He's been fantastic, and I'm sure he's got a few words he'd like to say.
Thank you, Frank. Well, I think we can describe today as a unique occasion. I don't think this array of promotional talent has been together in one room before, but more importantly, they're on one channel now, which is Box Nation. So I'm absolutely delighted that we've got Barry, Ricky, 2 Franks on the table here, and I think the benefit is going to be seen on the channel. We're going to now have the best of British boxing. We already have, I think, the best of worldwide boxing, and as well as the fight that Frank referred to, the big Mayweather fight coming up. Of course, we've shown a lot of international boxing, the likes of Broner, the likes of Hopkins, that you wouldn't have been able to see anywhere else. So to put all that together, I think is really exciting. Of course, all of this is for the benefit of our viewers. And today is very much part of building up the offering on the channel for our viewers. I think Box Nation offers fantastic value. £10 a month for all of this, I think, is terrific. We're going to shortly be rolling out a special summer offer for Box Nation, so you'll get the rest of the year for 50 quid, which I think is terrific value. And we're also looking to roll out other services for our viewers. We're going to introduce high definition at some stage this year, so that will take it on to the next level as well. And one of the reasons we're very, very pleased to welcome Bill Ives to the company, and as we've said, we're in discussions with Bill about him becoming more involved with the channel, and that will help us again to develop and finance the rollout of our channel, not only in the UK but also internationally as well. So I'd just like to thank you all very much for coming today. I think it's a really important day for BOXNATION, part of us growing up as a company. Nearly 2 years in, we've got a fantastic future ahead of us, and I'd like to thank all the promoters that are here today, and look forward to the next phase.
Jim McMahon, our Chief of Operations, is here as well today, so if you want to ask him a question or Jim's got anything to say.
I suppose just to really emphasise what's been said already, and also in the past 20 months we've invested millions of pounds in British boxing, which is obviously good for the sport. And we're now looking to grow the channel, and with all these promoters now associated with the channel, obviously the promoters can be selfish, but as a channel operator, we are selfish as well. We want to see the fights on the channel that the viewers want to see. So we'll be talking to all the promoters that we've got associated, trying to make the matches happen that we want. We've already mentioned Chisora and Price, if that can happen, and we'll be talking to Barry and Ricky and trying to make the fights that the viewers want to see happen on the channel.
We also have here two of our other directors, Simon Green's here, and also my son George Warren, they're also in the audience there. Anyway, we'll speak to some of the other promoters. Barry, do you want to say anything?
I just think it's about partnership, and whether we're in competition or not, it's about giving the fight the fans they want, and I think it's about it's something that hasn't happened before. There's I don't want to use that nasty word monopoly, but what this is different. We're all working together. Frank Maloney, the other side of the table, he's got a couple of kids that some of my boxers want to fight. Ricky here will have fighters that will want to box, some of Frank's and so on. And ultimately, it's about getting the big fights on, and that's what it's very exciting. I'm very much looking forward to it. And being selfish again, I can't wait for them to come to Belfast to see the passionate support that Frampton gets. We're obviously very excited. We don't look beyond the 20th of July, and it's a very tough fight for Frampton against a tough Argentinian, and these guys are difficult to beat. But it's very exciting for me to look forward to September/October, and potentially a final eliminator or a world title fight. We've got to keep the door open to that, because at the moment Jonathan Romero, who's the champion, apparently has to have his mandatory against Jeffrey Matabula, so that might take place in August, and so we might have a champion and maybe somebody we can do business with. But this, I think, is I think it's a great format. It's a great opportunity, and I can't wait for it to get started.
Thank you, Barry. Mr. Maloney.
There's not really a lot I can say other than, thanks to BOXNATION, it helped me keep my independence when Sky were trying to force me to work with another promoter and take over the chocolate man, as I called him, because if he was chocolate he'd eat himself. And I think the son is double chocolate. But the issue was that meeting with Frank, BOXNATION gave me that independence I wanted to keep. I've been in boxing for nearly as long as Frank, I think, in one form or another, and I've always tried to stay independent, and this has given me that opportunity. My ambition is to deliver David Price to the World Heavyweight Championship and win that on BOXNATION, and with Frank I've been able to do that, and hopefully continue to do that, providing we get past July the 6th, and then I've got some other young good fighters, as Barry said, that we can make good fights. I know Barry from a long time ago, I know Ricky, and I know Frank, and it's great to be working with them. We are rivals, but we want to give the British fans the best there is, and if it wasn't for BOXNATION, boxing would definitely be a monopoly and a minority sport on TV controlled by one organisation.
Thank you, Frank. Mr. Hatton, I'm pleased that Ricky and I are working together.
Yeah, it's I've not been in the promotion game as long as the two Franks here at the table, but nevertheless I have got a very good stable, and my promotional outfit was coming along quite nicely, but nobody was seeing them, and that's what BOXNATION and Frank has given me the opportunity that my fighter's going to get the chance for the fight fans to see him. I think, to be honest, what's happening here at this table, we really broke the mould in boxing terms, where promoters fight each other. You know, so it's going to be great for boxing fans and press alike, because how many times do you see so many fighters under one particular, you know, with one particular promoter just naturally avoid each other? But you know, this is an opportunity where the fight fans and the press are going to benefit, where all the fighters are going to be hopefully matched, you know, together. So it's a wonderful, you know, opportunity. And when you look at, you know, the TV clip there and the people on this blackboard that are boxing on this channel, you know, I think it's going to be great for boxing. It's not just the matches that we can make at this table, it's the matches that Box Nation show overseas. You know, it's and to have my stable, who have been starred with television for so long, with the opportunity, I can't thank Box Nation enough. I'm very, very much excited to the future, and really much feeling proud to be sat at this table today. Thank you.
I'd like to introduce Bill, I mentioned earlier. Bill, as I said, is the chairman of Rain and Steel. Bill is, we're in very, very advanced negotiations, and I'm quite sure in the next few days we're going to they're going to come to fruition. Bill is going to become a significant shareholder in Box Nation, which is great for the channel, it's great for everybody else sitting at this table. He's a massive fan. He was a former amateur, quite a good amateur heavyweight himself, but didn't turn pro because he had a problem with his eyes. But in the business world, he certainly is a heavyweight. He's done fabulous, and is all about British entrepreneurism, dedication to his work, and he's been a very successful man. So we're proud to have him here. We'll be delighted to welcome him on board as being one of the directors of Box Nation in the future. If you'd like to say a few words, William.
Yeah, well, I think Box Nation provides the boxing fan with the ability to watch all the good fights and the good talk about boxing, and also sports fans everywhere. It's the one channel where people can sign up for basically what's a pint of lager a month and see everything that's going on in the boxing world. And I think it's a superb opportunity for me and for boxing to get involved and bring to the fans what they want. I'm a very keen supporter of it. Watch it all the time. Bore everyone crazy at home, switching on every night. And you know, I'm really looking forward to it. And I think if we bring the fights that people want to the television, I mean, boxing is a very, very popular sport, and it's been underplayed, I think, by the press and the media, and I think it's what people want, especially the big fights. So I'm very pleased to be involved.
We're pleased, and part of the job description he's got now, he's in charge of interviewing all the rank card girls. That's what's funny. That's what. Anyway, so that's where we are. Four, really, including myself, 4 promoters. I think we've been around the block a few times between us, and some of these guys, obviously as fighters, world champions. They've got great pedigree, and this now, as I say, is the future of Box Nation. Coming up to our 2nd birthday, September onwards, it's going to be great now. But from September onwards, you're going to see what we're talking about all come to fruition. The fights that the fans want to see involving our fighters will all be put together. The channel's going to go from strength to strength. We'll be launching another channel, as Richard said, high definition. We've got a great board. We've got people who are passionate about TV, passionate about the sport, and we are what we are. We're what we say on the tin. We just do boxing. We're boxing, 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 and we will deliver the best for the subscribers and the fans for the UK. Get to the question and answer stage now, so if anybody would like to ask any question, please feel free to do so.
This is a question that Richard or Jim could answer. After nearly 2 years, we still haven't seen Box Nation in the national trust listings, television listings. There must be a reason. I'm sure you've tried, and it would obviously be a big boost to the channel if you could advertise the programs in the national press. Why hasn't it happened, Richard?
I think the national TV listings now are confined to a relatively tight group of channels, and to be fair to Box Nation, it's not really about our schedule, sort of day in, day out. What we want to do really is to highlight the big shows that we have, because that's when we'll get the bulk of our viewing. So Friday night, Saturday night, Monday night, obviously, will be the key points for our channel. And so to get people to write, like, as you do, to write about the event itself, I think is extremely helpful. Whether we'll ever get the full listings in national press, I don't know. I wouldn't sort of spend all my life worrying about that. I'm much more interested in making sure that our big events everybody knows about.
There'd be probably at least 30, maybe more shows, at least British shows. That is. That's without foreign shows. So it'd be at least 30, but there'd probably be more than that. You know, with the deal that we're far down the road with, hopefully there'll be another announcement about that. That'll ensure that there's more capital available to increase the amount of shows that we put on. So and I just want to say one thing, which I don't want to think I'm rude. You know, it's not just been about us as a channel over the last couple of years. You know, the guys over there, all of them, that lot in the corner, dodgy-looking people with no suntans who sit in the studios. Jim Bentley, Steve Lillis, Bunsey, you know, Rawley, all of them. They've been fabulous, and our other world champion there, hiding there. They've been absolutely brilliant. They've, you know, in hard times, it's not been easy. This has been a tough slog for us. We got let down to start with finances, and we've had a lot of help from people, and a lot of goodwill, and that's got us to where we are. We're now, as I say, in a situation where within the next few days or so, we'll be on a much firmer basis, and which can only be good. So I just want to say to all you guys, you know, it's all been appreciated. You've been fabulous. Appreciate it.
Well, any of the promoters, really, there's been a perceived differential between the competitive fights demanded by American television for fights over there, and sometimes shows here where possibly because it's been restricted competing between each other, the procession of fights on a field which you pretty well know the result before you go. Is there a real impetus from you to make sure from now on you have that intensity of competition?
I mean, I can speak for myself, Jeff. I think we've made the fights. With what we've been doing in the last couple of years, I mean, we made, you know, fighters that I was promoting. You know, we opened up with Nathan Cleverly and Bellew. I mean, how many people have put those two guys together? You know, did that very early in their careers. We made that. We did the Chisora and Hague fight. You know, there's many fights like that. We're putting in, you know, Sullivan and Billy Joe Saunders next month. You know, I have no problem in making the fights that I think the fans want to see. But I've always done that. Of course, every fight for every single fighter can't be a tough one. You know, Man United don't play Man City every week, or they don't play, you know, Liverpool. They'll play the Norwiches and the Wigans and that. That's got to happen. Otherwise, you know, no one's going to have a career. But the ultimate is for us is to make these fights happen. And you know, and it's not the end of the world for losers either. If somebody loses a fight, it's not the end of their career. So it's, as I say, it's about us collaborating together as rivals, bringing the fans and the channel, more importantly, and the fans what they want.
The corollary to that is you two guys were keen to get Frank and Quick made, for example, which has receded because of what's happened with Scott. I mean, you were keen to do this, and it's been stopped by the politics. And now, under this circumstance, it might have no chance of happening.
It's been stopped by Joe Gallagher. That's just been stopped now. And whether Ricky was looking after him and handling Joe Gallagher, or whether it was Barry Hearn or Eddie Hearn, it doesn't matter. It's simply a case where Scott Quick doesn't want to fight at this stage, and you know, Frank offered him 200,000 quid. You know, we had a chat, and he offered him. I mean, he will never earn that sort of money in his career. And he certainly, you know, you're talking 7-8 times what he's earned before, and he just couldn't do it. So, and that's a slight exaggeration, but you know what I'm talking about is just 5-6 times what he'd earned before, and he wasn't interested. So at this stage anyway, that fight's not going to happen. So we get on with things, and you know, as I mentioned earlier, but we're looking to fight for the world title, and maybe it'll happen down the line. But you know, put it this way, he put out all the efforts to make it happen, and they knocked it away. Simple as that.
Barry, of all the promoters on the table, you're the one that's kind of physically stepped aside from the deal with and Sky Sports. Can you talk a little bit more about that deliberate move away? Apart from the fact, you know, thanks to giving the promotion and match, help to match Hampton with the right people. Can you talk about the damage that Sky is doing in your eyes?
No, I don't want to get into any legal stuff, Gareth. All I'm saying is that this is a much more egalitarian setup, and it offers competition, and life is about competition, and you know, if we all are channeled into the one area, then that invariably will cause the standard to go down. What you're finding here is we have 4 people on the table who all compete against each other, but we want to compete against each other, and we are saying, look, let's get these fights happening. Let's put these shows on. Let's try our best to make them happen, and that's why we're sitting around the table, and that's great.
I mean, Sky want a monopoly. They just want one promoter. With Box Nation, you've got more promoters. And what Sky don't want to do, they don't want to build British fighters no more. At least on Box Nation, we've got the chance, like Ricky said, to invest our money in fighters and develop fighters.
Don't forget the Irish ones as well.
And the Irish ones. But, you know, and that's the opportunity we've all got here. You've actually got an opportunity now to go out and start looking at fighters again and saying to a young fighter, right, we can now develop your career. Because under the policy that the other TV station wanted to do, there was no way you could do that. And you've seen the one promoter, he's building fighters. When they get world opportunities, they're not fighting him, but he's taking them away and making his money that way. And they're getting bumped off.
Did it remind you, Frank, of what they were trying to create? If you hadn't had Box Nation, what you kind of drove, you know, carts and horses through 30-odd years ago?
Yeah, well, in those days there wasn't a selection. All you had was BBC showing domestic boxing, ITV was showing fights from overseas, but there was no domestic, and it was quite, you know, I was obviously much younger then and a little bit more energy, but you know, that was for me was I mean, I loved at times taking on the challenge, but this has been a tougher challenge. I mean, I never realised what we was getting into here. You know, for me it was at the time was, and I walked away from Sky. You know, what happened with Frank, and what happened with Ricky, I think was disgusting, especially the way Ricky was notified. I think it was, you know, when you look at the fights that he had on there, to get an email saying, you know, sod off Baldrick, and that was it, wasn't it? And that wasn't right. But what I'm saying from my perspective is this was, I was just getting involved in Box Nation as a promoter, and then sort of in a month it was all hands to the pumps because two of the investors just let us down. So it's been a totally different dynamic, and there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes where people have done their best to undermine us and think that we're in a weak position. But the one thing I've always done throughout my career, as much as I admire Barry and I admire Ricky, how they fought in the ring, I've always fought as hard at them outside the ring, and I've never walked away from any situation, and I would never walk away from this because I believe it's a winner, and I believe, and it is a winner, and I believe that the team that you know, guys I mentioned earlier and the management and so forth, I don't think it gets any better than that. The way they've all pulled together, you know, they've been owed money. They've had to, you know, that's how it's been at times. People have been paid a little bit later than they should have done, but they've hung in there and they've got paid. But that's how it's been. That's what teamwork's all about. It's about, you know, taking the challenge, and everybody understands what we're trying to do, and what we are trying to do here is to make sure that British boxing is healthy and that it thrives, it survives, and that people who are involved get an opportunity. Other promoters get an opportunity. It'd be very easy for me to say, screw everyone, I'll sign the fighters, end of story, and that's it. But that's not what's happened. What we've done here is work between us to make this, I believe, a success story. And I just feel that with our rivalry, I feel that the different camps will the fans will see over, and the viewers will see over the next the years to come. I want to see Ricky Hatton's fighter fight Warren's fighter. I want to see Larry's fighter fight Frank Maloney's fighter. Let's get these fights on, and it won't be difficult for us to do. There's not going to be any ducking and diving, because I think where we come from is that we all want to see the big fights. We have tried to make the big fights over the period of time.
And Jeff, from the channel's perspective, it's an absolute necessity. We have to deliver events, and having all of these working with all of these promoters gives us a better chance of doing that. There's no point in us just delivering fights that people don't want to see or don't care about. It's really event driven, so we need to work with all these promoters and put on the screen what our subscribers want to see.
Can you give us any figures, Frank, about the number of subscriptions when you opened up 2 years ago compared to today?
Okay, well, we opened up with none. And then we've done very well after that. It's just an upwards from there on. No, it just keeps rising and rising. And I've got to be honest with you, we can sit here and tell you stories. I'm not going to get into the exact numbers, but the fact is, it actually fluctuates because it's event driven. You've got a huge fight, then you get more people subscribe. And that's why, as Richard touched on about the HD channel, it'll be a separate channel. We'll have two channels running by it well before the end of the year. So there'll be an HD channel which all the subscribers will be able to watch. And if you just fancy dipping in for one fight, then maybe you might just want to subscribe and pay a premium to see the one fight. We're working very hard on that, but that's where we're at. We're trying to, we obviously want it to be successful. We want it to be a financial success. But whatever way you look at it, people only want to watch events and quality fights, and that's where we've got to make our name for. I mean, I think some of the stuff from overseas that we put on this, the first 6 months, have been fabulous fights. I mean, I don't think you've seen. If you're a fight fan, you're in fight heaven to watch some of the fights that have been on. And we've got some good fights coming up over the next few months. Some really good 50-50 fights, good fights with good stories, and some good youngsters coming through that I think everybody's going to want to see the development of their careers. So when they get into the bigger picture.
Frank, can the HD channel be the only one that's open for one-off payment for big fights?
Sorry?
Will the HD channel be the only one
that
that's open?
Richard probably answered that.
Well, the intention is that everybody who subscribes to the channel will have access to the HD channel as well. Whether we bring in a one-off pay-per-view type product, we haven't determined yet. We think the subscription offering works very well for us. It's fantastic value when you think you get 10 quid for a month of boxing as opposed to 18 quid for what could be a minute of boxing. We think that's good value to our customers, but we'll look at the best way to do that. Whether we move to pay-per-view or not, we simply haven't decided yet.
Will the HD channel be sequential on the Sky platform?
I think so.
Yeah, we can't guarantee that, but that's the plan. I mean, we could have gone HD a year ago, but it's not cheap to go HD. So what we've done is we've invested in the content, and the next stage is HD, but it's not a cheap option. So it's whether we buy the fights or invest in the infrastructure.
Bill, I see you now on Sunday Times Rich List. There must be investment opportunities in other sports. Not in particular in boxing.
Because I like boxing. I've always been very interested in it. That's what I like. I don't understand football or anything else, cricket. So boxing I've always been a fan of. So it's interesting. I like watching the fights and understanding what's going on.
Bill's, I think we've been all over the world. He's seen, going back to the old days of all the great fights. He's attended most of those.
It's been 4 days without it.
2004, which was great, fantastic. Pardon? Yeah, amateur. North East Division Weight 67. What was it? 66, 67, 68.
Where were you with Ali for 4 days?
Sorry?
Where were you with Ali?
At his place north of Chicago. He's got a ranch there. A lawyer I met in Montana was doing business with him, and we had the opportunity to spend 4 days with him, which was absolutely fantastic. wonderful man. Very good.
I'll just go back to that question that Barry answered very well. You did answer the question, thank you. And to Frank's obviously spoke about it. You made a lot of money fighting on Sky as well as being promoted on there, and by Frank. How let down were you? I know you spoke about this before, but how let down were you in the manner that your promotion was dropped like that?
Yeah, very let down. I think it was more the manner than anything else. Sky, have cricket, they have football, they have all the darts, they have all these other ventures, so it wasn't just, you don't have to be a clever individual to know that, someone had to, be given the slip, if you like, and that one was unfortunately me. But I think with the history that I'd had with the channel, maybe something a little bit more than an email that wasn't even sent to me was, disappointing. But it was been very, very hard for me promotion-wise, because I invested my money that I worked very hard for in the ring to get the fighters at championship level, and then I had nowhere to put them. And it'd have been dead easy for me to chuck the towel in promotion-wise, but I didn't want people to say, Ricky, how we told you, it'd be a 1 minute wonder promotional-wise. I wanted, I'm made of a little bit firmer stuff, really. I'm passionate about this game, and I think Frank and the two Franks have shown how passionate they are about the games, because they've had tough times just like I've recently experienced, and they're still here after all these years. I'd like to think I'll still be experienced, and I persevered with it, and now it's come good with the relationship now that I've got with Box Nation and being sat at this same table. So I'm very, I'm very, very chuffed. And the fact is, as a fighter, I want to fight the best, and I'd like to think I've got a stable that want to fight the best. And there's all the promoters at the table that think that the best thing for British boxing is for us to fight together, for the best to fight each other, and that's why we brought the mould. We're all going to work together and do it. It's very exciting to be a part of, from where promotional wise I was maybe 12 months ago to where I'm sat present day. I'm eternally grateful, and it's because I stuck at it, like pretty much everything. You get knocked down, you get back up again, and I think that's what I've made a pretty firm stuff, and it's paid off. And I thank Frank and Box Nation for giving me the opportunity. Yeah.
How many fighters have you got under contract?
Maybe, I don't know, maybe 15, something like that, 15, 18, something like that. We've got Gary Buckland, who's going to be fighting the Nathan Cleverly bill, which is going to be absolutely, fantastic opportunity for Gary. Exciting fighter. The Dynamo really sums his style up. He really is, non-stop. Got Martin Murray, who's sadly just lost the, against Sergio Martinez, which absolutely baffled the life out of me. Gary Buckland should have been fighting in the silver belt, and sadly the ring collapsed when all the crowd got into it, and that wasn't with just me being in it, but no. And I've got Sergey Rabchenko, who's the WBC Chill champion, light middleweight. He's also European light middleweight champion. He's the #1 in the WBC. He's the mandatory now for Saul Alvarez. I've also got 2 Olympians from Australia, Damien Hooper, who's very, very talented up at light heavyweight, and Cameron Hammond, and obviously Australian heavyweight champion Lucas Brown, who's his record, I think he's 18 fights, 18 wins, 17 knockouts. And when you look at the mix in the heavyweights, there's no reason why Lucas is knocking on the door for fights with the winner of Price and Thompson. Hopefully it's David, I think it will be. So I've got a good and a lot of talent, coming through as I'm a trainer now as well. Got some really talented kids, a young kid from Ireland called Ryan Burnett, Belfast kid who's very, very talented, and hopefully can go on the back end and keep the good run going in Belfast boxing now, which Cal Frampton is leading the way in doing so. Hopefully he'll get some opportunities to fight on Cal Frampton's bills.
And that's what this relationship does. That allows us to, for example, Ricky, if we want to bring some fighters over and work with Ricky, I'm happy to work with his kids. And I think this deal also enables me to go out and sign other fighters. And there's a multitude of unhappy.
Frank, I thought about how Amir Khan's been drawn into this mix. Obviously a marquee fighter. It's good for this production of yours. How that came about, what happened with Sky there?
don't know what happened. I don't know what negotiations they had, but in actual fact, Richard done the negotiations with the Khan camp. But he's done the deal, and we're showing his fights in December.
I don't think we've got a final date for it, but it's expecting it to be the
7th. So that's his next fight. That'll be on Box Nation. There's talk of it. They haven't announced it, but there's all sorts of talk of him fighting. But obviously, it'll be a world title fight, so that'd be great. We also got deals, by the way, with regular fights that we're showing from abroad, Sowland Promotions. We've got Golden Boy, and also we've got some shows some other smaller shows that we've done from here with Queensbury Promotion, which is my two boys' promotional outfit. So it's a lot of different promoters involved and bringing the best from around the world.
I think the other thing to say is, of course, this is a great time for the viewer. It's a great benefit for the viewers, all of this, because at the same time we're doing all this, we've got BT Sport launching very soon. They've got a very competitive offer where it's free if you've got BT broadband. So great for the viewer. You can get Box Nation for £10. You can save your money on BT Sport. Sky are obviously not going to be looking to be very competitive with their pricing and their broadband offering. So as a viewer, you've got a great chance here to save some money on your other channels and pay £10 for all of this sport on Box Nation. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
Frank, the investment might Box Nation be in a position to make a collective offer for, say, Anthony Joshua?
Well, I mean, any of the young fighters that are out there, I would do that as a promoter anyway. I want to sort of make some couple of things clear. A go-go, Anthony, I never made an offer for a go-go. I met with him. He was invited to make an offer, but it's my choice not to do that. Nothing to do with money. It's just the fact that you've got to believe in your fighters, and hopefully he'll do well for himself. But I never made an offer for him, nor did I ever meet or make an offer for Luke Campbell. I never met with the boy. Never even picked the phone up to his agent to do so. I made it very clear. The only fighter that from the Olympics that I was interested in was Anthony Joshua, and I'm sure in the next few months he'll make his decision what he intends to do. And if he's on Box Nation, I'll be absolutely delighted. But we've invested, and as Jim said earlier, we've invested millions and millions and millions of pounds in this channel, in rights fees, in infrastructure, the whole thing. We've invested a lot of money in this, and I'm confident we'll get this deal done with Bill, and that will then enable us, as I said earlier, and I am repeating myself, I know, but that will enable us to take us even to a further level where we need to get to. And this channel's here to stay, and it will deliver the best in boxing. And we will be talking. We're very open to what we do with other channels. We'll roll this channel out also in other countries around the world. We're in discussions regarding doing that, and we're also interested in talking to other TV companies in this country. So there's a lot of things that are happening. It's exciting times for us, and we did this. And this is where I'll give everybody a pat on the back. We did this in the hardest and the worst economic climate that I ever remember. Think what we've done in this climate. And Box Nation for £2.50 a week is cheaper than buying boxing rooms. Do we have any more questions? Are we all done? Thank you very much for coming along, and thanks Frederick and their staff for hosting us today. It's most kind. Thank you.
You can have the top table outside on the pictures.